Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 182. This chapter had me fucking laughing like crazy. Especially with Haiba. So basically this chapter is, it shows like a flashback of how Hayama got into the Elite 10. And I was wondering how they were able to choose the Elite 10. You know, if it was like some random selection or lottery, but it was actually a battle royale of cooking. I'm like, that's awesome. I'm glad they showed it. And I also like the way that the chapter told the story through Kuga. It's like, it's all serious. It's like the Elite 10 are getting ready to study the other contestants. They're placing their bets on who's going to win. And everyone's like, oh, the third years are obviously, you know, the most experienced. They've gone through the first couple years. It's about time they get to be part of the Elite 10. And we got a couple, obviously the top ones are mainly third years. We got some second years mixed in. And I think Erina was the only first year other than Hayama before now. And then, so we're going through this, and then Hayama, he's being himself, he's being all quiet. And you got some third years who are owning it up, who are fighting for their positions. They look unstoppable. And then you get Hayama, and he like gives them all the cooking. He's like, has the spices. And you see all of them get freaking ripped up naked, and they're like, I'm like, oh my god, I laughed at that part. I laughed a lot more. And then we get a transition over. Actually, there was a transition before that. You show Kuga, he's being himself, all funny. He's like shriveling, he doesn't like being out in the wild. So like you get a little more into Kuga and how his character is, and he's like kind of a little bit of a brat, you know, rich guy. He has everyone doing everything for him. And then he explains the other Elite 10 member, I think Kindu, I keep forgetting her name. They're like, sometimes I forget how to pronounce them. I have to look it up later. She's like the chick with the vampire teeth. She's like, she doesn't even move. She's like a reptile. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, we get to see more of how these Elite 10 are. You know, I like that the chapter gave that to us. And that's pretty much the chapter. And it basically shows Yukihira up in the mountains. And man, let me tell you, the scenery is pretty awesome. I like the drawing of it. Yukihira pretty much took a guide up there. They took a guide up there. He's like, they gave instructions to how to get to the mountains. You know, they're camping basically. And I really like that aspect. I was so excited. I'm so happy that they showed them in the fucking mountains instead of just them like skipping it and then like possibly doing the flashbacks. I don't remember if they've done that before, but they did that a lot in the anime recently, and that kind of like pissed me off. But in the manga, stay true. They always show us the attention to detail instead of rushing through shit like the anime. But I love that part about it because it looks so nice, and the drawing. And Yukihira, he's going through the mountains, and he's looking around the area, and he's talking about the bear, and then all of a sudden he looks at this branch in a tree, and he's like, oh, I think I figured out how to solve the solution to the bear. And I'm like, oh yes, that's great. You know, it's Yukihira. He's the one that, he points it out, he figures it out on his own. That's great. Good that we're showing that Kuga isn't helping him too much. And that was pretty much the chapter. And what I really want to talk about is, like, in the last episode I did a review, and I was like kind of half and half wondering if it was plot armor, if Kuga was helping him out too much, and maybe like, oh, like that's unfair to Hayama. But like, I like thought about it more, and I'm thinking maybe it's not plot armor at all, because it's not Soma versus Hayama, it's Totsuki versus Central. The landscape has changed now for these Shokugekis, because from the beginning, Soma has always been placed at a disadvantage from the moment he took on Hayama. Because the fact is, these rebels are still students, and they're throwing them to the lions against the Elite 10. There's probably maybe 5 of them that can that could probably hold their own against the Elite 10. Yusoma, Korihibe, Alice, Megumi, maybe Hisako. And everyone else, I feel like might get kicked out. And the thing is, though, is that it's just an unfair advantage because of throwing Soma to the Elite 10. Because here's the thing, if Soma doesn't challenge him for Shokugeki, he still might get suspended. If he does, he still might get suspended. And Hayama's always going to be safe. He has the Central at their disposal, and he's still safe. Soma is fighting to stay on the campus. And so what I like about the fact that Kuga is throwing some help there is that it shows that since Kuga was suspended, or like not suspended, but taken out of the Elite 10, it's more so the former Elite 10 who are jumping in and saying like, hey, we're not going to allow Central to push these rebels off. It's not like a battle of Shokugeki. It feels like more like a war, so to say. It feels like a war here. It's no longer just Hayama versus Soma. It's like, if this were a regular Shokugeki, then I'd probably think, okay, I think that's too much help from Kuga. But they're fighting just to stay on this school. They're not fighting to necessarily show who's better. Yeah, they want to see who's better, but it's all survival here. That went out the window when it was more than just a natural trade. Because Soma his education is on the line no matter what, even if it isn't a Shokugeki. So when you have freaking Kuga, the rest of the former Elite 10 versus the current Elite 10 and Central, it's basically old school versus new school. It's more than just Soma versus Hayama. It's not just them. It's him versus Central. Totsuki versus Central. If it were just those two guys, and if it were regular Shokugeki, then it'd probably be plot armor. Now that I thought about it more, it really does feel like food wars. They're all trying to help each other versus Central. They're all trying to stay alive, to stay on this campus and prove who is right with the right food. And I actually really like that now. Thinking more about it, I actually love that Kuga is helping him, because he has his own plan and agenda, and it's pretty obvious that. And if you think about it, it goes back to even Edina helping them out. She's not helping them out against the students, against the other Elite 10. She's helping them out to defeat Central. And now Kuga is throwing his hand out for them to defeat Central. Not necessarily Hayama. Hayama's a part of Central. He is Central now. Now that we've seen it on the surface level, he looks like he's part of Central. So in order for them to keep the rebels, to keep the original way of cooking for Totsuki alive, they have to throw in their help. And I really like that. So I guess it's not, to me, I changed my mind. I was actually on the fence thinking that Soma had plot armor for Kuga helping them, but now I think about it, it actually just evens the playing field against Central, because it's a battle between Totsuki and Central. It's a war now. It's no longer regular Shokugekis, and I really love that about this. So I'm raising the bar on that other chapter. Now that I thought about it more, I'm really liking this dynamic of food wars. It feels like wars now between. I loved it. I'm really liking this. Fan chart out. This chapter 4 out of 5. Later.